Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Well, the SIT has filed a report on what went down in Hathras, the stampede that claimed 121 lives, where the devotees were attending a satsang by the self-styled godman Bhole Baba. Strange is that the SIT mentions a lot of things, holds the organizers responsible, details what exactly went down. But I'll tell you what's strange. Finds no mention in terms of name or culpability of the man on your television screen, Bhole Baba, Surajpal. 8 days since the Hathras Stampede and still no sight of the main speaker at the satsang that led to the death of over 120 people in the stampede. The SIT report on the tragic stampede now pins the blame on the satsang organizers and details how the organizers completely messed up in terms of safety arrangements. Even blames the local administration and the local police. Not just that, the report also did not rule out a possible conspiracy into the entire stampede, something which even the self-styled Bhole Baba is also suggesting. But no mention of Surajpal's name, Bhole Baba's name. Remember, it's been 8 days since the self-styled godman has been on the run. No FIR lodged, no mention in the SIT report, and clearly no interrogation yet. Who is protecting Bhole Baba is the question we ask in this debate on To The Point this evening.
देखिए, जांच रिपोर्ट जो आई है, जांच रिपोर्ट के आधार पे कार्रवाई हुई है। अगर विपक्ष संतुष्ट नहीं है तो वो लिख के दे दे, जिससे जांच कराने को जिससे संतुष्ट हो उसको लिख के दे दें, उससे जांच करा दिया जाए। सरकार एक कदम भी पीछे नहीं है, जांच के लिए हर तरह से तैयार है। जिस भी एजेंसी से वो जांच चाहते हैं उस एजेंसी से जांच करा दिया जाएगा। जो जांच रिपोर्ट आएगी, जो दोषी होगा उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होगी।
डीएम एसपी को कौन जिम्मेवार बनाएगा? कौन उनको तैनात करता है? किस फाइल पे उनके दस्तखत नहीं हुए कि जब ये पता किया गया कि साहब एंट्री गेट बनाया है कि एग्जिट गेट बनाया है या नहीं बनाया? एम्बुलेंस कितनी है? ये सारी चीजों की जांच अगर आपके बड़े अधिकारियों ने और आपने नहीं की तो ऐसी चीजों के लिए आप भी दोषी हैं और वो भोले बाबा भी दोषी हो। जब तक भोले बाबा के खिलाफ और बड़े प्रशासनिक अधिकारियों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई नहीं होगी तब तक माना जाएगा कि आप सिर्फ लीपापोती कर रहे हैं।
उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी ने इस पूरी घटना को बहुत संवेदनशीलता के साथ लिया। उत्तर प्रदेश के 3 मंत्रियों को घटनास्थल पर तुरंत रवाना किया था। उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्य सचिव और डीजीपी घटनास्थल पर तुरंत पहुंचे थे और मुख्यमंत्री स्वयं सबके आंसू पूछने के लिए, जख्मों पर मरहम लगाने के लिए स्वयं वहां पर गए। इसमें जो भी कार्रवाई अपेक्षित थी सरकार से, सरकार ने वो सारी कार्रवाइयां की, चाहे मुआवजा का वितरण करना हो या इस पूरे मामले में एफआईआर दर्ज करके विवेचना करके गिरफ्तार करना हो। कई सारी गिरफ्तारियां भी हुई है। ये केवल ब्रेकिंग न्यूज के लिए या सुर्खियों में आने के लिए कोई आनंद फानंद के तौर पर की गई कार्रवाई नहीं है, या इस तरह की कोई गिरफ्तारी जिसके आधार पर कोर्ट में जाकर के वो बरी हो जाए, ऐसा नहीं है। क्रेडिबल एविडेंस कलेक्ट किया जा रहा है और जो भी कार्रवाई होगी वो ठोस और कठोर होगी।
All right, so the government says strict action will be taken at the back of this SIT report. But strangely, the SIT report doesn't even mention the man whose satsang it actually was, where lakhs turned up. The self-styled Bhole Baba, aka Surajpal. So the question that we're asking, who's saving, protecting, shielding Bhole Baba? Let's cut across to our reporter first, Abhishek Mishra, joining us live from Lucknow. Abhishek, can you take us through the SIT report and what it details? Of course, completely misses the name and no mention of Surajpal or Bhole Baba there. But what are the findings of the SIT report?
Well, absolutely, Preeti. And this SIT report, which has been submitted to the government, clearly are not mentioning any name, any significance, and any kind of connect of Baba Bhole from this whole incident. And that is very shocking at the moment, because this was the first one because of whom this whole, setup was made. More than 2.5 lakh of devotees or followers were there. And what happened there, the permission was granted for 80,000, but the chaos and the situation which got worsened there is only because of that person, and that name is not there. What has been done? Suspension of 6 officials, including Tehsildar, the CEO, and SDO. And at the same time, it has also been said that there are also apprehensions over whether it was a plan or a conspiracy. So that is something is also a major question. Although the opposition you've just heard, they're saying it is just a formality which has been done, but the government on the other hand, the party on the other hand, is trying to defend They are saying the investigation is underway, the judicial inquiry is going on. They have taken the immediate action because those are the officials they believe from the administration were primary responsible for it. But it's not only about few suspensions, and that too on the lower level, because it was the responsibility of the Home Department, it was the responsibility of the district magistrate and the SP, and that was not made sure. In a way, indeed, this SIT report is signifying the responsibility of the organizers and the local administration, but it's a big failure at the government side, and the opposition is also not satisfied and raising questions over this report, referring it only a formality, which...
All right, Abhishek Mishra, appreciate you joining us. So the SIT report, viewers, and we're going to play that graphic out, mentions practically everyone connected to the stampede or the satsang. It blames the organizers squarely. It blames the local administration, even the district magistrate. But, you know, doesn't blame the man who was conducting this satsang. So heads will roll, but the man who headed the satsang in which the stampede took place, his name, strangely, is missing from the SIT report. So who's protecting the Baba? Let's cut across to our political panelists this evening. Charu Pragya, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Ghanshyam Tiwari, Spokesperson, Samajwadi Party. But before I cut across to our political panelists, Vikram Singh, security expert and former DGP, is also joining us. Mr. Singh, for someone who has governed Uttar Pradesh, do you not find it strange that an SIT report blames practically everyone, where the organizers come into question, where the local establishment comes into question, even the DM. But the man who headed the entire congregation is not named?
It is extremely surprising and unusual that the man, I would say the bridegroom of the party, is absolved of all the charges. The district magistrate, yes, and I would be very happy if the superintendent of police is also blamed and also held responsible, because these two are responsible. Even whether you are there or even if you are on leave, even then you cannot wash your hands of the case. Now coming to the whole organization, the whole tamasha, the whole satsang, the whole congregation was done for the Baba. And if it is done for the Baba, how can the Baba, like the DM and the SSP, wash his hands of the case? And if the SIT, and I hold these two officers to be very responsible of unimpeachable integrity and professional competence, Ms. Chaitra, the commissioner, and also the Anupam Shrestha, who's the ADG of, they are women of the highest integrity and professional competence. But I would have been very happy if they had nailed all the top three dramatis personae, the DM, the SP, and the Baba. Because it is impossible. We are beating around the bush without coming to the point, and going round and round in circles without coming to the point. Everything that you have nailed is agreed. But if you do not come to the point and take the central point, the core issue is the Baba. Everything was there because of the Baba. The DM and the SP because of the Baba. The congregation because of the Baba. And to leave the Baba out of it, it's like stale coffee. Everything is there, but the flavor is missing. What can I say?
You know, Charu Pragya, one thing which the local administration, of course, leave that aside, but the Uttar Pradesh government is promising that at the back of this SIT report, heads will roll. Heads will roll, Charu Pragya, but save the head who headed this entire religious congregation.
Preeti, good evening. Now, what has happened in Hathras is extremely unfortunate, and it's terrible. All of us are feeling equally pained, and this pain doesn't increase or decrease depending on anybody's political affiliation. That being said, this has been a case where our Honorable Chief Minister has been on the ground and leading from the front and ensuring that immediately action is taken, immediately cases get registered, and we do our best to understand from where did this entire problem originate. Now, everybody is talking about the Baba. Yes, I understand everybody reached there to listen to him. But at the same time, there was another set of people who were a part of the group which went to take permission from the authorities for this particular event. It was a name on that piece of paper which claimed that I take responsibility and I'm the one who's handling this event. So prima facie, every single investigation or an FIR is going to name that person first. Now, it doesn't mean that other people are off the hook, and it doesn't mean that if responsibility later, after the probe is done and the report is out, is fixed to be elsewhere, action will not be taken. I assure you of this. In the last few years, we have ensured that Uttar Pradesh is now known for very good law and order, and not the way it used to be run in earlier times. Our Chief Minister is proud of it. And we're going to ensure that does not change, and it has to be taken seriously. If Yogi ji is taking charge, if he's already suspended an SDM and a CO, you have to believe that this is not a place where people should be coming to point political fingers only, which has unfortunately become the case. Rahul Gandhi wants to come to Hathras, but he doesn't want to go to Sandesh Khali. Rahul Gandhi wants to go to Manipur, but a few 100 kilometers away, he doesn't want to go to Assam, where flood victims are in relief camps. So this selectivism with politics needs to stop. Yes, a terrible incident has happened, but our government is ensuring that responsibility will be fixed as soon as possible. Heads will roll, and nothing like this should be repeated in the future. That should be our focus.
Well, heads will roll, but not the head of the man responsible for it all. Because, Charu Pragya, you talk about selective politics. It's not about Rahul Gandhi, and nor is it about Yogi Adityanath. Yogi Adityanath might have done a commendable job of taking stock of the situation, but if the situation is going to be whitewashed with an SIT report, which you say, so what if it doesn't mention the main culprit, then there is a huge problem, Charu Pragya. Very glaring issue. Because the man in question, leave alone for taking responsibility, wasn't even there for days to even speak up on what really happened, and then has come up with a bizarre explanation that this could be a conspiracy of sorts. I'm going to bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari, but before that I want to bring in Vikram Singh back into this conversation, because Vikram Singh, what Charu Pragya said, that yes, names are there, but so what if the name of the main culprit here, who is Suraj Pal, aka Bhole Baba, his name is not there, but action will be taken against him. Sir, you and I both know better, and I'm sure even Charu Pragya knows better, and I'll bring her back into this conversation, that if a name is not mentioned in the SIT, then action will not be taken against that person. It would be the organizers, the sevadars, who are going to be facing the brunt of the law.
Absolutely. Justice must not only be done, but must seem to be done. When the chief, I would say the chief architect of the whole controversy and the whole episode is not named and is not mentioned, or there is no roadmap to get to him, then the questions are bound to be raised. I would have been very happy. Now it is almost 7 days, a week after this tragedy has happened, and nobody seems to be riveting or closing down on the Baba. I really would not like to believe that the Baba is totally oblivious of what has happened, or he is indifferent, or he is totally innocent. Certainly not. By no stretch of imagination, and by implication and by conclusion, Baba is 200% responsible for the whole tragedy, much as they would like to believe that there's a conspiracy. If there's a conspiracy, let the investigators prove it. If the Baba left before the tragedy took place, then it has to be proved. But the ground reality is that the Baba was fully aware of the tragedy and perhaps left in a hurry after the incident, not before the incident. He was fully privy to the incident, and therefore not to name him, not to mention him, and not to take account of his complicity in the whole episode, I think would be a miscarriage of justice.
121 are dead in this stampede, the burden of which is also for the Baba to carry, primarily so. But nobody seemingly fixing responsibility. And Ghanshyam Tiwari, bringing you into this conversation, there seems to be a lot of criticism coming in from the Samajwadi Party on the incident of Hathras, where it seems the Samajwadi Party is blaming everybody else but the Baba. And the reason for that is because he represents one of the key components of your recently acquired vote bank, where the D of the PDA, Dalit.
Good evening, Preeti, to you, the viewers, and the fellow co-panelists. There are three things which are extremely important in this sensitive case. This sensitive case is a contrast with a bulldozer-led, trigger-happy, often accused of fake encounters, leading the country in custodial deaths, strong-armed BJP government led by Yogi Baba himself, where they have not even shown the courage to question this man, forget naming him, where there are 2.5 lakh eyewitnesses who apparently, as the media has shown, had heard this announcement from the stage that you must collect the soil of the footprints of the Baba for your blessings. What is a bigger evidence than this, if there are so many eyewitnesses that are saying that the man should be questioned? That the Chief Minister doesn't name him, BJP doesn't name him, the Deputy Chief Minister, the whole array of leaders and administrative officers at the topmost level do not name him, demonstrate that BJP runs a sham rather than a government. This is an example of quackery, nothing else, this SIT report. As far as the charge on Samajwadi Party of being cautious in calling out for straight out arrest, it's a fair charge. The person has a large following, and we would want to see an SIT report that clearly with facts puts it down. This is not on public demand. 121 plus people are dead. But when a chief minister is scared, a trigger-happy system is scared. A system that is trigger-happy to arrest journalists on tweets of facts, that to beat people to death in police custody, to engage in fake encounters, to bulldoze people's houses. They are scared to name him, demonstrates the quackery of Uttar Pradesh government and the quackery of this administration led by Yogi Baba himself. There is no absolvement from that. And finally, when the ambulance is missing, the state hospital doesn't have light and adequate facilities, doctors, nurses, the police lacks the intelligence that 2.5 lakh people are there. You have created a system which will lead to tragedy. Now, is it Mr. Yogi Adityanath who has created the system, or is it the DM of the district who has created the system? That UP government has to answer, because if it is Yogi Adityanath, then there will be more tragedies.
Pragya back into this conversation, let me ask you this question again. Multiple times it was asked of Akhilesh Yadav on the Baba, and he chided. He said, which Baba? There are two Babas in UP. Why wasn't he very clear? And he himself has tweeted videos of the same very Baba on his timeline. Then be clear, come out with press conference after press conference as a healthy opposition and ask that Suraj Pal's name be mentioned in this FIR. The reason, again, I will say, Ghanshyam Tiwari, that you're not following this through, because he represents the Dalit vote bank, which you have recently acquired in the Lok Sabha elections.
It is not just Dalit vote bank. It's a fair criticism if we say that why are we not shooting immediately, saying that the man should be arrested. We are saying that the man has a large following. 2.5 lakh people is not a small number. But there is the entire state, from the chief minister to deputy chief minister to chief secretary to DGP, is involved in an investigation that has 2.5 lakh eyewitnesses. If they do not have the courage to name the person, to at least point out that this was announced,
but sir, as a healthy opposition, I'm sorry I'm asking you this question again, but I'll bring in Charu Pragya. Just 1 second, Ms. Pragya. As a healthy opposition, isn't it your duty to name the person? You can't transfer the guilt onto the dispensation because they are not doing their job. You're not doing your job by naming him.
You are fair in your criticism. I'm only saying that because of the sensitivity of the case, unless the government calls out the SIT report clearly, right, we will be shooting off without the details in this matter.
That's the sad part, Ghanshyam Tiwari. What details do you want? He sat on that satsang. You can see his car whiz away. He disappeared for days. He did not even forget about taking responsibility. He did not even come back to apologize of something that had happened on his watch. So what details are we awaiting? I'll tell you what the details are. It's the fine print of politics, which is vote bank. But sir, you and I both know better.
I'm saying a very simple thing, Preeti, and in black and white, that the eyewitnesses claim that announcements were made from the stage when 2.5 lakh people were packed in a place which was permitted for 80,000 people, that you must collect footprints of soil or footprints of the Baba. Why is the SIT report not calling it out? You can definitely, I'm saying that you can criticize our stance of not being aggressive on right from the beginning to call out for the arrest. But we are very, very focused on ensuring that the SIT calls it out, and then we will do our job.
That's the sad part. That is the sad part. The administration is responsible. The UP government is not doing its job. The SIT report seems strange. But the job of the opposition is also not complete, Ghanshyam Tiwari, because you're not speaking up because you want the SIT to speak up. You're very vocal about various other issues. And once again, I say the reason is the fine print in Indian politics, which comes down to caste. And this time, it's the Dalits. And there are a lot of believers still of this self-styled godman. So therefore, why upset a political apple cart which has taken years to stabilize for the Samajwadi Party? But Charu Pragya, ultimately, the buck stops with the administration and the UP government. And I'll give you an example. When bulldozers have reached the doorstep of so many without FIRs, without absolutely any legal permissions or orders, and destroyed homes, what is stopping bulldozers to actually bulldoze one of the many various ashrams of this Bhole Baba, some of them on illegally built? That's not going to happen, will it this time?
So, Preeti, a big war has been called out on illegal construction in Uttar Pradesh, and that is targeting everybody alike. If ashrams are on illegal land, that's an entirely different debate. But here, the point is, and Ghansham also said this, if the organizers are announcing from the stage, go collect the mud, and that causes a stampede, we should fix the responsibility on the organizer's head, and that is happening. And like I said, the probe is not over yet. Like I said, investigation has not ended yet, but the investigation is going to continue in a fair and free manner, and that is an assurance, and it's a very solid one. Those who are pointing fingers at Baba, and Ghansham ji's party leader Akhilesh ji was directly asked, should Baba be arrested? He was crass enough to ask, which Baba? Is this a matter of joking? Is this a matter where you crack a line like that and you think it doesn't hurt the sentiments of the families who've been affected by this stampede? I don't think so. You should have been clear in your answer. You should have been responsible in your answer, because as you rightly said, yes, the buck stops with the government, and the government is going to do everything possible to ensure the investigation concludes in a manner, like Sir also said, which seems also fair, which is also fair, and justice will seem to be done. But I do not think that a leader of opposition of a stature of Akhilesh Yadav should say which Baba and laugh of a matter of such importance.
All right, but the fact is, Charu Pragya, at least the BJP knows which Baba they're talking about. You talk about illegal constructions and bulldozers. Bulldozers have rolled in this country and the state of Uttar Pradesh without any illegality on the building. So therefore, when there are various buildings of the Baba converted as self-styled ashrams, which are where the legality is in question, what is stopping the Uttar Pradesh government to roll its bulldozers? But then that's not going to happen because the man's name is not even mentioned in an SIT. And that is where, strangely, the lines blur from the opposition and the government is concerned. Because somewhere down the line, Charu Pragya, what you said in your opening remarks is the same. That I agree with Ghansham Tiwari if he says the organizers are the ones who said, come and take the dhul of the feet of this man.
I didn't say that.
But nobody's going to question the man.
I didn't say that. I said clearly that this was announced. Who announced it? Was it Mr. Suraj Pal who announced it? Was it the organizers? This SIT does not even mention that. Don't turn this report into a matter of fact. There are 2.5 lakh witnesses who heard that this was announced. And whether the Baba announced it or whether the organizers, I am not calling it out. But they should call it out.
2.5 lakh victims heard, but the Samajwadi Party didn't hear, nor did the Bharatiya Janata Party hear. Charu Pragya.
See, let me come back to what you are saying. So the SIT is listing everything as they are finding out and finding concrete proof for everything written down in ink. So why don't you have a little more faith in the dispensation which has turned around the law and order situation in Uttar Pradesh? And that is the fact.
I'm reading the SIT report. I'm reading the fine print that I see. And what I find most glaring in that, in a multitude of findings, is the main culprit's name missing. That's what I'm finding. Vikram Singh, I'm going to give you the last word.
Can I just add one?
Yes, please.
Yes. So you are calling him the victim who claims that he was a guest to an event. Yes, responsibility needs to be fixed. But shouldn't the organizers who are calling more people than they've taken permission for
and you're telling me the man in question who was presiding over this religious congregation had no clue that more people have been called to his satsang. Vikram Singh, is it possible?
Certainly not. India expects faithful implementation of the rule of law, and everybody is eagerly awaiting when the Baba will be held accountable, in the sense faithful implementation of the rule of law. There's no point in going round and round in circles without coming to the point. The truth is so obvious. It is so obvious. The time has come that everybody should not only name the Baba, but action should be taken against them.
The truth is obvious, but sadly, our political parties are blind to it, because whichever side of the political divide in Uttar Pradesh that you look at, all of them saying the SIT should do it, but they are not saying it. Why? Because of political compulsions. Viewers, read the fine print in Indian politics. In this particular case, it's called Dalit.